Hello and assalamu alaikum everyone. I am Kashif Kamran and welcome to this Facebook live session which is about SBL question and answers for the June 2023 exams. Now if you have any questions pertaining to your upcoming exams on Tuesday, you are more than welcome to raise your questions because this session has been arranged exclusively for all of you so that you can mitigate any of your misconceptions or any of your concerns ahead of the June 2023 SPL exams. Now, in the meantime, as I start receiving questions from the student pertaining to their upcoming exams, just let's focus on some very important discussions which in between will add value to this session. First of all, you must all be aware that there are three recent examiner articles under the syllabus area E, which is the application of new technology part 1, part 2, and part 3. They are extremely important for the upcoming exam. You have already seen that in the June 23 mock exam published by ACCA, there was a question on cloud and mobile technology. And with the examining team giving so much focus on application of new technologies, there is a chance that you might get an 8 to 10 marks question on the new technologies. Primarily, the cloud technology holds the significance. So please ensure that you have read through the three new articles of the examining team on the application of new technology, and you know the examples of new technology the examining team has given in what are benefits and what are risks associated with these new technologies, because that is the core part what the examining team has tried to cover in these articles. Secondly, you should all be very familiar with the SBL paper and the importance of the reading and planning time in the SBL paper. And I always believe that the first 60 minutes of your SBL exam holds the key to success. Now, whoever holds the nerves is very calm, is very composed, and is exercising the right judgments in that first 60 minutes, which is the reading and planning time, will definitely be successful. Because if anyone knows what to do in the reading and planning time, uh, if you are my regular student, or if you have taken my free webinars over the YouTube, or you have taken my paid webinars on my portal, irrespective of that, if you know the definition of reading and planning time, you know exactly what is to be done inside the reading and planning time and the systematic steps you need to take in the reading and planning time. That is the key to success. Because if anyone spoils the reading and planning time, or drag the reading and planning time beyond 60 minutes, you are spoiling your exam setting. So you should be very sure of the systematic steps you should be taking inside the first 60 minutes and what exactly you need to do in the first 60 minutes. I will be speaking more of that because first 60 minutes holds the key. Now, just before I speak more on the first 60 minutes, and what exactly you should do in the first 60 minutes, there are some questions from the students I would like to answer in. Okay, the first one is Glory saying Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum assalam. So again, that's just a hello and hi. Then the other one is from Daniel Abbasi. Will the change of SBL paper make it more difficult? Not at all. Again, this is a question which is more relevant for September 2023, not June 2023. And this session is being arranged for uh, June exams, not September. But your question, the answer of your question is not at all. The paper will become more easier because the time span of the paper from September will go down to 3 hours and 15 minutes, as with other strategic level papers for ACCA. And the number of tasks and the number of exhibits will also go down. So you will have to read a bit of less information, which will be more soothing for the student. So there is no increment in the difficulty level of the SPL paper starting from September 2023. I hope I've answered your question well, Daniel. And I've already put a video on The changes coming from September 2023 in SBL exams on my YouTube channel. Please do watch. So, okay, the question from Glory, if that's your right name, I probably believe that is not the case. What are the 10 most important technical articles? I've given you three, right? The application of new technology, part one, part two, part three, under the syllabus area three. I believe these are three very important articles. There is also an article on responsible leadership. There is an article on environmental and sustainability issues. These are under syllabus area A and B. And then there is an article for line of defense under the syllabus area D. I think these are total six articles and they hold importance in terms of the upcoming exams. So that I can only give you a list of six, not the 10 most important technical articles. I hope you're clear with that. Okay, just in between, I get more questions. Let's move back to what we were discussing. We were discussing about the importance of the reading and planning time, the first 60 minutes. And I believe in the first 60 minutes, the extraction of the task and the relevant material from the exhibit, the copy paste, is the key to success, because in the first 60 minutes you are understanding the task, you are copy pasting the task on your word processor, and then you are reading through the exhibits and you're trying to copy paste the relevant material from each exhibit into the relevant task area. You might find material relevant for task one, two, three, four, five. So you keep copy pasting that under each task on the word processor. So after the first 60 minutes, the task must be absorbed. You know what is to be done, and you've copy pasted the relevant material from the exhibits under each task. So the word processor, after the first 60 minutes, is the launching pad for you. Your word processor is the single window which should be in front of you for the remaining 180 minutes, provided you have done the best in the first 60 minutes of bringing every possible information you will be needing for answering the task 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for example, from the exhibits to the word processor. So the copy paste is very, very important in the reading and planning time. How you connect the information in the exhibits with the task is very, very important, and understanding the task itself is very important. A lot of time the students are in a hurry or in a rush when they're reading through the task. You need to read the task very carefully, because the task will not be telling you just the format in which you need to answer the task. It will also be telling you the technical marks, what you should do. You should look at the number of marks. You should see how many points you need to develop for every particular task. And then how you need to demonstrate the professional skill. What professional skill the examiner wants you to demonstrate and how. So there is a lot of reading inside the task. And if you understand the task, you can easily connect uh, the exhibit with the task and you can produce an excellent answer. So first 60 minutes is very, very important. And I hope you all do justice with that in your upcoming June 2023 exam. The next thing, boost your journal professionalism marks. They're very simple. We're not talking about the professional skill marks, but there are journal professionalism marks as part of your professional skill marks. And how can you attain them? You can attain them, number one, by using the right format asked for, by ensuring you have headings and subheadings in your answer, by ensuring that each point you are explaining is not more than 4 sentences long. You should avoid long paragraphs. You should ensure that no point is repeated in a single task. And if you follow this, you are attaining your journal professionalism marks. Not repeating a point in a single task, not writing very long paragraphs, headings and subheadings, and ensuring the answer is put in the right format. These are minimum things you can do for fetching the journal professionalism marks. So that is how you can boost in your journal professionalism marks in your upcoming SBL June 23 exam. Now, just before I move further on the professional side of the SBL paper, and then again on the importance of the reading and planning time and what sort of right decision makings you can take in the June 23 exams, which can boost your chances of success, there is another question from a student. Okay, the question is from Pratik. How to revise in one day? See, revision in one day depends upon what you have done and what is still to be done. Now, you are the best judge of yourself at this point in time, where you are today on Saturday and what you still need to do on Sunday and Monday. I probably believe this is the time when you should sit down with two latest examiner reports, and you should read the two latest examiner reports like a story and try to identify the reasons of a weaker student in SPL. Try to understand why the examiner is raising concerns on the answers of the weaker student. What the examiner is telling you about what a weaker student do wrong. So I think if you can just read through the examiner report like a story, that can really add a lot of value to your answers for the upcoming exam. So I think revision is more down towards practice, or revision is more down towards examiner report. Nothing else than that should be in the revision. Okay, another question. Can we get 14 marks for 14 brief points? No, you need to every point in SBL should be well explained. Every point should be explained in a very good depth. Without a depth of an explanation, don't expect that you are being rewarded in a strategic business leader exam. Yes, you can fetch zero point 0.5 marks for just like a very short explanation. But if you want to get good marks and you want to pass the barrier of 50, a point should be well developed in SBL. And I'll just be coming to the definition of a well developed point as part of my Facebook live session. Okay, in between, I get more questions. Back to where we were. We were discussing about the journal professionalism and how you can boost the journal professionalism marks in SBL by ensuring you put things in the right format, avoiding long paragraphs, using headings and subheadings, and then ensuring you are not repeating a point in the same task, because examining team don't like the repetition of the same point again. Okay, there is another question. Should we use subheadings after every paragraph? Every paragraph should have a heading, ideally, if it is possible. So, if it is possible, try to give every paragraph a heading. And if it is not possible, at least try to give a break. When you write one paragraph for one point, start the next paragraph from the next line. Give a break. So when the marking team is checking your paper, they can see the segregated paragraph. They can see the segregated paragraphs, and they know that every one paragraph is covering one relevant point. So try to make the life of the marker easier, and in that way, you will increase the opportunity to pass the paper. Okay, there is another question from Neha. Can you give tips for writing a good business case? Answer: how different it is from report. It's not different from a report. In a business case, you are basically doing a pros and cons analysis. In a business case, you are doing a critical evaluation of things in favor and against the subject matter of the business case. So if you're writing a business case on entering a new market, for example, so you will be telling about what is the pros of entering the new market and what are cons of entering the new market, or what is something in favor of entering the new market, what advantages will the business get by entering the new market, and what are some of the risks you will face if you enter the uh, new market. So a business case can be developed with like a subject business case. You can write to, from, date, subject, just like the reporting format. Or you can simply say, you can simply put subject business case and you put the date and you start writing the business case if you don't want to follow a very structured format. So you can just use the format of a briefing note for a business case. But business case is looking at both sides of the picture, the favorable side and the adverse side. I hope you're clear with that, Neha. There is another question from Hasib. So, what strategy should we follow in these last 3 days? Hasib, I just made that very clear that in these last, ideally 2 days, not 3 days, you should ensure that you are reading the last two examiner reports like a story. Try to identify why student fail in SBL. Try try to identify examiner comments about weaker students and what are reasons of weaker students. If you can just read through that, that can really add value to your answer on Tuesday. So I think the in the last 2 days, one examiner report a day is good. Latest three examining articles are good. The application of new technology, part one, two, and three, and you can evaluate yourself. Where are you lacking, Hasib? So you can do a realistic analysis of yourself, where you are and where you want to be on Tuesday, and you can just fill in the gap. That's the best you can do in terms of the last 3 days. I hope I made you clear, Hasib, on that. Okay, just before I get more questions, just let's get back to what we were discussing. We just discussed the journal professionalism, and more I want to add here is this point, because I think this question was also asked by one of the student. Depth of explanation is what the marker is looking for. A well developed point is like 3 to 4 sentences long. Sentence is not a line. Sentence is where you put a full stop. 3 to 4 sentences long is a well developed point, which is the depth of the point. And that depth of the point is what the SBL examining team is looking for. Your point should be well explained. Your point should be well connected with the case study. A well synced point, a well developed point, a well connected point is what the marking team is looking for, and that will make the marking team happy. If you are developing a point with just like 1 sentence long, that's not worthy. 1 to 2 sentences long, that's fair. 2 to 3 sentences long, that's good. And 3 to 4 sentences long, that's excellent. And it should not be more than 4 sentences long, because that's something the SBL marking team does not like. So, depth of explanation is one key to success. And the second key to success is case sync is essential to pass the paper. I always tell my student, absorb the case in your answer, connect the case with your answer. The more you absorb the case in your answer, the more you connect the case with your answer, the more uh, the answer you are writing, if that is more blended with the case study, rather than you writing something generic or you're writing something far away from the case study, that will not help you pass the SBL paper. So if you are writing an answer which is well blended with the information from the case study, you have well explained the information in the context of the case, your overall answer is well synchronized with the case study, you will pass the SBL paper. So to me, there are two very important pillars here. One is the depth, one is the case sync. And if any student has the depth and the case sync, eventually you have a very good answer to impress the SBL marker. Okay, we just talked about reading the two latest examiner reports. That is the best strategy you can adopt in the last 2 days ahead of your SBL June 23 exams, because you will get a lot of constructive criticism of the examiner in the last two examiner reports about technical marks and professional marks. And you can learn a lot from that. And the learnings you take from the examiner reports over the next 2 days can really add value to your success in the upcoming June exams. A lot of time students ignore the examiner report and they do the same mistake because they've not read the examiner report before their actual exam sitting. So I would prefer that you read the SBL examiner report in the next 2 days, and that would definitely be adding the value. Risk, you all know, is a very core area of SPL, and you must have seen a lot of questions on risk in almost every sitting, every single exam sitting. We find a question on risk. Uh, it's one of the examiner favorite areas, so you should be very good on the area of risk. In the last couple of months, we came across a new article on risk, four lines of defense. So you should be very well versed with what exactly a four line of defense model is. If the examiner specifically used a terminology four line of defense, you should know how this can be used by the management as a risk mitigation, or how the management can use the four line of defense to increase confidence of shareholder that the risk is being properly identified and properly mitigated in the organization. You know, examiner do ask you questions on risk assessment, the likelihood and impact. Examiner do ask you questions on how to mitigate the risk with the transfer, acceptance, reduction, avoidance. These are favorite areas of the examiner. Examiner do ask you risk register. Risk register is one of a favorite area of the examiner. You need to find the deficiencies in the risk register. You need to evaluate the risk identified in the risk register. You need to evaluate whether the recommendations or the mitigations adopted by the management in the risk register are right or wrong. So risk is one of a core area where your preparation for the June exams should be very good. Same goes with strategy. Syllabus area C holds the significance in SBL exams. A lot of questions on Porter Diamond, on macro environment, the pestle. A lot of questions on evaluating the proposed strategy. A lot of questions on suitability, acceptability, feasibility has come in the past paper. So I believe strategy is another area which hold key in the SBL exam, and primarily the macroeconomic environment is one of the favorite area of the examiner. So please ensure you have revised the core areas which comes a lot in the SBL exam. This time technology looks like a major impact on your paper, or at least some 10 to 15 marks could be allocated on technology in the upcoming exam, so please be prepared with that. The last thing is that a lot of time the examiner asks you a question in SBL which is very journal. It does not relate to anything you have read in the books or articles or in a class of a tutor. That question relates with the scenario. Examiner might ask you something for which a certain exhibit has been given in, and the answer of that question lies in the exhibit. It does not relate to any knowledge factor you have covered from the books and the articles. So we do see some very generic requirements in SPL as well, the answer of which lies in a certain exhibit, and that exhibit should be very well read to answer that particular question. So even if you have covered the whole BPP book or Kaplan book and you've read the technical articles, or if you have taken a course of a tutor, there will be a certain question which covers the topic which you've never covered theoretically. But you should not be like demotivated with that, because that's been the natural part of SPL, because that particular requirement has a connection with the case. You need to read through the case to identify the answer of that requirement. And you must have seen such requirements plenty of time when you were practicing ahead of your June 23 exams. Okay, there is a question from Shah. How do you look SAF in the exhibits? How will you explain them? See, you should know what exactly suitability, acceptability and feasibility is in terms of definition. You should be very sound what is suitability, what is acceptability, what is feasibility. So if you're technically sound on the meanings of SAF, so you will find the relevant material for the S, for the A, for the F. So you need to put the three headings S, A, F, and under the three headings you need to find the relevant points to conclude whether the desired strategy is suitable, is acceptable, is feasible, by taking relevant points from the case study. But you should be technically strong. What does S means? What does A means? What does F mean? I hope you are clear on that, Shah. Okay, there is another question from a student. How to answer a question that asks for current strategic position? Current strategic position is basically looking at your strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. So if the examiner asks you current strategic position, so the current strategic position is in terms of your strengths and weaknesses. So primarily you're looking at the business SWOT model or SWOT analysis. But again, model isn't the best answer. So you can just look at the issues and the opportunities of the business. You can look at the plus and the minus of the business. So the current strategic position means where you are today. So where the business is standing today in terms of its strengths, weaknesses, or you can apply the whole SWOT model. So that's basically what a current strategic position means. Okay, how can cloud computing and smart technology be tested? Ali is asking this question. I hope you've read the Examiner article on cloud technology. It's very clear, asking you the benefits and risk. For example, the management wants to introduce a cloud technology, and they're asking you as a advisor that what are benefits of introducing the cloud computing in the organization and what are risks associated with it. So you should know the benefits and the risk given in the Examiner article, and you should then adapt those benefits and risks in the context of the case study. So you should go through the Examiner article, and examining team is already telling you in the article how it will be tested. So knowing the benefits and risk and then connecting them with the case study or adapting them with the case study is how they will be tested. Ali, I hope I made you clear on that. Okay, another question. Who are the principals and agents of a charitable organization? For a charitable organization, definitely, if you look at your board of trustees, the board of trustees are the principals. The agents are the management who works in a charitable organization. Even the donors are the principals of a charitable organization. Probably the one who donates a lot, like the corporate donors, who have a significant stake in a charitable organization and in the running of the charitable organization. So primarily, it's a board of trustee from an examination perspective. Realistically, they are the donors, and the agents are basically the management. Okay, there is another question from Osama. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Wa alaikum salam. My SBL failed in the last attempt at 48. Now I'm very panicked and stressed. Please guide me how to stay calm and perform well. See, 48, first of all, Osama, is not a bad failure, right? So that means you were on the right course of action in the last exam sitting, but uh, probably one or two tasks were underperformed. So I think there is nothing wrong in your approach and strategy. It's about ensuring that each task, one, two, three, four, five, are done on the same track. Just 1 minute. It's not like that some of the tasks are done exceptionally well and some are not done exceptionally well, or some are done very badly. Now that will fail you. So I think it's about ensuring that you have a balanced paper to pass SPL. We just talked about, Sama, the depth of the answer. I hope you heard that. We talked about the sync of the answer to the case study. I hope you heard that. We talked about the journal professionalism in the answer. I hope you heard that, because this is all what adds value. And Osama, I would be looking for your answer. Have you read the two latest examiner reports? Because again, I think that's where you can get the incremental marks. That is where you can get extra marks and surpass 50 in the June 23 exams, if you have carefully evaluated the recent examiner reports, because that will really tell you why students fail. So 48 is a good failure. That means you are on the right course of action, but you just need to ensure that the entire paper is done in a more balanced manner. It's not like three tasks exceptionally good and two tasks very bad. That will make you struggle. I hope you're clear on that, Osama. And if you want to put another question, you're more than welcome for that. Okay, Ali. Yes, sir. I read the articles, but there is a SAS, PAS, and IAAS in the articles, which I don't quite understand. See, Ali, this session is not about the technical knowledge. I've covered these SAS and PAS and IAAS in my regular classes for my regular students. Uh, I hope you can Google them out. You can just go over the internet and search what SAAS is in a more easier term, because at times the explanation given by Google is far more easier. Or you can watch a video on YouTube for SAAS, PAAS. At least that video with an illustration can guide you better. I hope you're clear with that, Ali, because again, this is not a technical session where I can shed light on that. I've already covered these three terminologies for my regular students in my regular course. Okay, there is another question from Shah. When answering the question, I always take from the exhibits and explain as per the case study. But do we need to add our own views? Yes, you can add your own views, provided the views are in line with the industry that is given in the exam paper. The views are around the organization you are facing in the organizations. The views should not be the views should not take you far away from the case study, or the views should not take you into wild assumptions or hypothetical assumptions. So if your views are closely connected with the organization or the problems of the organizations, of the issues of the organization, and you are just developing your views in a very near radius, so in a very near radius, that's perfectly fine. So there is no harm with that, Shah. Okay, is the practice of 15 papers enough for SBL exams? I think more than enough. To me, even if you practice 6 to 7 papers, 6 to 7 recent papers, that's the best practice for SBL. Okay, Osama is saying, yes, sir, I've heard you in the other videos, really beneficial. And yes, I've read the exam report, sir. I also have MSA 2 exam in the morning. Please give me a little motivation. Uh, see, you have accepted this challenge, Osama, right? So that means you are a real good student. You're taking on a challenge of giving one exam in the morning and one in the afternoon, and otherwise you could have deferred your SPL for September. So if you're taking on this challenge, so you are prepared for this challenge, right? And I wish you all the very best, and definitely you will do well. And at times when you're doing double the effort or more the effort, the results are far better. So I think you need a lot of energy. Definitely, you need a lot of calm and composed mindset, because one exam in the morning, one in the afternoon, so that is a bit hectic. But you just need to keep yourself calm and composed, and probably you will be writing SBL in the afternoon when you must be tired out giving your MSA2 exam. So I believe you just need to keep yourself calm down. Uh, that's the best I can tell you, because you've taken the challenge. So I hope you will be doing the best in it. Wish you the very best of luck. Okay, Osama, as you have always motivated me, I passed AAA because of you. Thank you so much, Osama. So I wish you the best of luck. My prayers, my well wishes are with you, Osama, and I hope you will succeed this time in SPL as well. Have a nice day. Okay, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for that as well. God bless you, sir. Thank you so much, Osama. Means a lot to me. I'm overwhelmed with your response. Thank you so much, and I wish you the very best as well. Okay, the MSA is a MSA2 on Tuesday morning, right? And you have the SBL in the afternoon session, right? So that's a lot of challenge. I hope you overcome that. Okay, thank you so much, sir. Very beneficial and wisdom words. You are welcome, Osama. Okay, before other questions comes in, just moving towards the wrap up of this Q&A session for SBL, we talked about the significance of the 60 minutes in the exam total time, the reading and planning, and what you do in reading and planning. How does your word processor looks like after the first 60 minutes is very, very critical. If you have a very organized word processor after 60 minutes, you have task, you have information under the task dumped from exhibit, you have set the right launching pad for yourself. uh, we talked about depth, we talked about case sync, we talk about important areas like risk and strategy, we talk about the recent articles, we even talked about extraction of the exhibits to your task. This is all very important. Now, few of the last things, uh, this one, I think staying calm and taking the right decisions in 240 minutes is extremely important. I think first thing is staying calm. A lot of time the student get into a panic mode. For example, they're looking at the task 1, and in the task 1 there is a part A for 10 marks which they don't know, and they think, I have never seen a requirement like such. And you just get to that panic side, You just get to that anxiety side, you just get to that stress side, and you spoil the task 1B, task 2, task 3, task 4, task 5. Why are you looking at a 10 marks requirement, for example, which you don't know, and disturbing your calmness for the remaining 90 marks? Right decisions, right decisions. It's very true that it is a strategic professional level exam. You will not be knowing 100 out of 100. You will not attempt 100 out of 100. If you're attempting 85, you're attempting 90, do the best, but don't spoil your 90 marks just because of 10 marks. Staying calm is very, very important. So I believe this is the key. Optimism. Optimism should prevail. You should look at the opportunities. You should grab the opportunities. You should ignore the 10 marks. Okay, I don't know it. Just leave that aside. Just keep it aside. It's a computer based exam, so you can come back and wrap up the answer for the 10 marks if you get opportunity or if you remember something. But just don't let those 10 marks dominate you. Put them aside. Focus on 90. Stay calm. Keep yourself focused. Have a clear mindset and attack the 90% of the paper. Do the best in the 90% of the paper. Try to write a good answer, a depthful answer, a case sync answer, an answer which is well connected to the case study, and you will pass. Okay, few of the more questions coming in. From Shah again. When analyzing ratios, should we take as per the exhibit or calculate other ratios, the one that have that we are more comfortable and can explain? If a lot of ratios are given in the exhibits, so you can use them because the examiner probably is looking for your comments on those ratios. Uh, and if the data is given and other ratios can be calculated, which you think are more viable for explaining or more viable in terms of the requirement, then you can calculate your own ratios provided the data is there and the ratios you are calculating are more logical to be connected with the requirement examining team is asking for. I hope that is clear, Shah. The next question from Neha. If the question states explain something and it involves direct application of a model, do we need to put the table, the model in the answer? No, 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 not at all. You directly start with the application. You put the headings and you try to connect those headings with the case material. For example, the Mendeley metrics or the change process metrics. Not at all. You're not drawing the tables. You're not drawing the Mendeley metrics. You're just putting the heading. For example, you put the heading power and explain the power. Interest, explain the interest. Stakeholder A, power interest. Stakeholder B, power interest. Stakeholder C, power interest. So that is how you can go with, not putting the diagram or the illustration of the model, or not even putting the definition of the model. That's useless in the AAA paper. Sorry, in the SBL paper. Okay, another question from Shah. When answering for presentation slides, can we answer in the word processor itself? No, not at all. Why? You have slides given by the examiner, so you need to write the slides and the accompanying notes. So you should put that task. You can plan for it on the word processor when you are doing the reading and planning. But when you are writing the answer, you should shift from the word processor to the slides. And in the slides, you develop the presentation slides followed by the accompanying notes. You're losing professional marks if you are writing the slide answer on word processor. Okay, there's another question from Nikhil. So, do we need to show the financial analysis numerical part in the word processor or spreadsheet? You can show it in the word processor if that is fine to you. That's not an issue. But if the examiner is asking for presentation slides, then that is to be done on slides, just like Shah was asking. But if you want to do the numerical part on the financial on the word processor, that's equally fine. That's not an issue at all. Osama, is it a good approach? We can copy paste all ratio requirements on Excel and calculate on Excel. Yes, if you're comfortable with that, Osama, you can do so. If you think that that should not waste a lot of time of yours, then it's fine to go down calculating them on Excel. But if you believe that will waste a time, you can directly do them on the Word with by taking the help of the calculator on the screen or by using your own calculator. So it will differ from one student to another student, depends upon your computer literacy, depends upon how much Microsoft Word and Excel you use at home and at your workplace. Okay, can you give examples of when they are skepticism skill required? Examiner will tell you you should demonstrate a skepticism skill, and then the examiner drags the statement. Examiner will tell you how you should demonstrate skepticism skill. Skepticism literally means to have a questioning mind, right? That you're questioning management, or you're questioning management statements, or you are thinking very critical around the management perspective. So it's like not accepting the management perspective at the first go, or not liking the management perspective at the first go, and being skeptical. But in the exam, when the examining team tells you you should demonstrate you should demonstrate skepticism, do they put a full stop after that? No. They tell you you should demonstrate skepticism in, and they continue writing a whole statement. If you read that whole statement after skepticism, they're telling you how you should apply skepticism. And I've covered that in my September 22 webinar. That's the free one on the YouTube, that how to read the demonstration of a professional skill. I hope you're clear with that, Shah. Ali's asking another question. So, should we leave formatting and letters, briefing notes formats for later, or do we do it at the planning stage? No, at later when you're writing the answer. At the planning stage, you should bold or underline that you need to write a letter or you need to write a report, so you remember the format. But the formatting should be done in 180 minutes. Should be done in 180 minutes. Neha is asking another question. Thank you, sir, for confirming. I saw the model diagram in the examiner answer. That's why I wanted to ask, confirm. I think they were relevant when you had a pen and paper exam, but since the computer-based exams, they're no more relevant. Okay, there is another question from Hasham Tanveer. Is this the correct strategy if I build all formats while fetching information from exhibits in the first 60 minutes, or just focus on reading and planning? It's up to you. My preference is just focus on reading and planning. You should know which format to answer the requirement in. You should bold or underline that. But when you attack the 180 minutes of the writing time, at that point in time, you should structure the letter or memo or the briefing note. You should not waste time on that in the first 60 minutes. Okay, another question from Osama. Some my usual approaches. When I copy paste requirements in word processor, I usually made all formats at that time. Okay, so I don't want to deviate from your usual approach. If that usual approach, you completed the 100% paper in the last sitting. So is it good, or should I make formats when starting the answer? See, if you completed the 100% paper and you completed the reading and planning time in 60 minutes with that approach you took in the last exam, so I would not modify your approach. But if you think, yes, that wasted a lot of time, and instead of 60 minutes, I took 75 minutes for the reading and planning time, then you should refer to the approach I just guided, that you should write the formats in the writing time, not in the reading and planning time. Okay, Ali is saying, okay, all right, sir. Thanks a lot. You are welcome. Another question from Homel coming in. Sir, is it possible to pass if someone has not practiced past papers, not even one, and planning to dedicate these 2 days completely to past paper? Quite a nightmare situation. Uh, and I should give a diplomatic answer. I believe the Saturday, Sunday, Monday will count. Homel, if you can seriously practice down on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, at least 4 papers minimum, might and the recent ones can at least bring you to a certain better position ahead of your exams on Tuesday, though that's quite a risky strategy. But I believe you are into a challenge mode, a do or die situation. So probably 4 papers minimum in the next 2 days could be better, could be the key to success. So though it's quite a strange looking situation for me, Humail. Wish you all the very best of luck for your upcoming exams on Tuesday. Another question from Nikhil. Sir, I'm a bit confused of the briefing note format. Do we need to give two from date subject? No, 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 not at all. That's in the AAA paper. In the SPL paper, you just give heading briefing note, subject, right? Briefing note, subject, and you start writing the normal answer. No introductions, nothing. That two from date subject was a briefing note structure if you've done the AAA paper, right? Okay, the next question from Shag. A tip, always use headings and subheadings. I got 49 because last time I did not use them. Yes, headings and subheadings is what the marketing team likes. That's part of the journal professionalism. So I hope you can improve upon your journal professionalism, Shah, because everything extra you do, which you didn't do last time, will add value and will take you above 50. Wish you success. Next question from Joy. Sir, I spent almost 30 minutes panicking in the exam hall. Uh, how can I conquer this fear? See, why panic? Uh, y- you get to the exam hall all prepared, a do and die situation. You have put the financial efforts, physical efforts. So you're sitting in front of a computer. Your time starts now, and you open the exam. And you go in the logical manner, reading and planning time, going through the task, reading the exhibits, connecting them down. First 60 minutes end, and then you get to the launching pad, writing the answer. Why panic? What is making you panic, Joy? Whatever is making you panic, just calm down. I know there you need a lot of emotional stability. You need a lot of emotional stability ahead of the exams. So I probably believe 24 hours before your actual exam, you should relax down. A lot of times the students study towards the end. Tuesday is your exam. Monday you should not do anything, because that is one way you can overcome this panic attacks in the real exam. If you're just uh, studied late into night and tomorrow's your paper, mm, probably the panic attacks will be more. Okay, another question from Tusha. How many mock papers to solve before given exam? In the 2 days left, one mock paper published by ACCA, the June 23 mock paper. That is it. So a lot of question came in, and I'm really very happy that I've answered all of them. Uh, and I hope each one of you who asked me the question, Homel, Nikhil, Shah, Tushar, Osama, Neha, Ali, I hope you got relevant answers to your question. Glory, I hope you got answers to your question as well. Hasib, I hope you got answer to your question as well. And Daniel Abbasi. Okay, just concluding statements. We were talking about optimism should prevail, and that's what is my recommendation to Joy as well, who's saying, I get panic in the first 30 minutes. Stay calm, look at the optimism, look at the opportunities, grab the opportunities. Don't just get nervous down. It's a long exam, a 4 hour long exam, at least till June 23. From September 23, it becomes 3 hours and 15 minutes. So 4 hours of investment, a lot of time you need to sit down in front of the computer. So I hope you keep yourself calm with, and everyone has a different way of keeping themselves calm, right? Okay, taking on some of the last questions now. Okay, another question from Hasham. How to retain information? Should I copy paste? Yes, yes, yes. So I do not have to. Exactly. Have you watched my September 22 webinar? If you are my free student, not my registered student, I've given the techniques of the first 60 minutes of the reading and planning time. How to read, how to plan, copy paste. That holds the key, because after 60 minutes, if you're going back to the task, you're wasting your time. After 60 minutes, if you're going back to the exhibits, you're wasting your time. Then what's the sense of reading and planning time, Hasham? I hope you've watched my webinar, September 22, in terms of the day one or day two reading and planning time. Homail, thank you, sir. You're welcome. I was planning to defer it, but since then, since this exam is more of a common sense, it is. It is. I totally agree with you. 200% agree with you. It's a common sense exam. Even the bookish knowledge, the article knowledge cannot do anything good to you. It's just looking at the requirement and getting things out of the case study. I totally agree with the statement of Homail, and I want to put this to all of you. It's a more common sense exam. And since I also have professional working experience, I found it an edge. Definitely, definitely. Go for it, Humail. I wish you all the best. Okay, Glory is saying thank you for the informative session, sir. You're welcome. Another question from Mohammed Rashan. Will the marker be considering students' exam pressure and all? Not at all, not at all. Obviously, it's a 4 hour exam. Everyone goes through it. You're prepared for the challenge with practice at home. So a little bit nervous towards the exam. Everyone is at this point in time. Everyone is at this point in time because when I used to be a student, 48 hours before exam, you start believing that as if you don't know anything. So I think this is a time when you should put books off, everything off, just relax down. No need to go through any other things in the last 2 days. Probably is the best strategy, which can help you pass. A lot of times students study a lot more, just draining or impairing their mind, and the mind stop working on the day of the actual exams. So wish you all the best, Muhammad Rashan. Alan, thanks for all your efforts, sir. You're welcome, Alan. Wish you success. Another question from Shah, but sir, if the format when copy pasting is different from when we are writing the answer on the word processor, so don't forget to change the format after copy pasting. Yes, you should. You should change the format after copy pasting if that's not bothering you a lot. Otherwise, when you start writing the answer, you can do it at that point in time. Muhammad Ayaz, dear sir, thank you so much for the last moment motivations. You're welcome. Muhammad Ayaz, wish you all the best and success in your upcoming exams. Shah, thank you for your clarification, sir. Jazakallah. Wish you success, Shah, in your upcoming exams. Adril Adril is asking a question: what to do during the next remaining time? Examiner reports, read two latest examiner reports, identify shortcomings, weaknesses, why student fail in the SBL paper. Two latest examiner reports is what you should do in the next 48 hours ahead of your exam. I believe that is something which will really add value to your upcoming exams. Nikhil, thank you so much, sir. Bless you. Same to you, Nikhil. Wish you all the best and success for your upcoming June exams, June 23 SBL exams. Okay, so I hope you found this session on Q&A SBL June 23 a productive one. Just a quick recap. Quickly, case sync is essential to pass the SBL paper. Depth of the explanation is what the marker is looking for. Read two latest examiner reports in the last 2 days like a story to add value. Strategy, the syllabus area C holds the key. You should be very good on that. Risk is another core area. You should be good on that. The new articles, application of new technology, part 1 to 3 under the syllabus area E is something very important for the June exams. Don't uh, take a risk of not reading the 3 articles. Boost your journal professionalism. I hope I've given you given you a definition of the journal professionalism. If you have missed any part of this session, you can take on the recording on the Facebook and YouTube. The first 60 minutes hold the key. The copy paste in the first 60 minutes holds the key. The word processor should become the launching pad. You should watch my September 22 webinar, the day 1 and 2, where I talked about the first 60 minutes in detail. If you are my free webinar based student, if you are my registered students, you already know about it. Optimism should prevail over pessimism. 240 minutes, the decisions you take in the 240 minutes. See, I just want to add one more thing here. You must be a very good student. Your tutor has given you a good feedback. You got good results from tutor. That was all on the answers where tutor has given you some guidance, or you were sitting at home. The new case study on Tuesday is a challenge. Applying the techniques to the new case study, you are reading that case study for the first time, and every time you read a new case study, the student says it was the most difficult one. It is because you're reading it for the first time. And no help of a tutor, no relaxation of home, and a do and die situation. So I believe taking on the challenge, the 240 minutes, taking the right decisions, applying the right techniques is what makes you successful. Even if you had been a good student in a classroom and the tutor has given you very good feedback, uh, the 240 hours on Tuesday is the real challenge. And the one who do the best in that will pass. So staying calm is what you need on the day of exams. And just one final analysis coming on screen now. Students are just saying, okay, thanks, sir. Jazakallah. You're welcome. Neha is saying, thank you so much for the guidance and motivations. My pleasure. Wish you success, Neha. Krishna is saying, thanks, sir. You're welcome. Wish you success. And Humail is saying, thanks a lot, sir. May Allah bless you. Thank you so much. Humail, same to you and wish you all success. Okay, so that is it. You can watch the recording later on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Kashif Kamran, or on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/KKDLP. So I wish you all a very best of luck for your upcoming exams, and I hope you do the best on Tuesday. And I hope the discussion we had today will bring the much needed motivation and optimism among all of you. Have a nice day. In the next 48 hours, study effectively and take a very good care of yourself. I wish you all the best and success. Your tutor Kashif Kamran signing off from the SBL Q&A sessions for the June 23 exams. Goodbye and Allah Hafiz.